Welcome to Vegas Live. Yes, we have an incredible show, and I'm Ninon. I shall be hanging around here for all our guests and finding out what's going on. And of course, you know what we're celebrating today? We're celebrating Elvis Presley's birthday. Yes, Elvis Presley, actually, and probably none of us would ever think of this, would be 81 on January the 8th. And I have with me Kenny and Kareem Baker, and they have quite a story, which we'll find out in a little while about their story with Elvis Presley and what they actually did. It's really fascinating what they did. But you are a reverend.
Yes.
And you are the wife.
I'm the wife of the reverend. Yes.
You're the wife of the reverend. that's a
big
pretty.
shoes.
Believe me, that's a pretty tough job.
Yes.
Because you have to always be in line at the same time you're the wife and do what you want.
That's right.
Yeah. So
absolutely.
Have you got it handled?
I got it handled.
Kenny,
She does.
Does she have you handled?
Yes.
Of course.
Very much so.
See, a woman does it secretly. She never says what she's going to do or how she's going to do it.
That's right.
She just
Nina.
quietly moves in.
That's right.
And remember, all women out there, we still have the power. We never lose the power, but we don't let the men know that we have the power. So just remember that, because then you'll get further along.
And we're the power behind
And
them.
we've got the power. There you are.
There you go.
For every great man, there's a great woman behind you. There you go.
Absolutely.
I
Amazing.
go with that.
Now, these two have many things that they do, and I guess the first one we're going to talk about it. You are a reverend, and you obviously you are the assistant to which church here in Vegas? Are you
Mount Jameson Missionary Baptist Church.
Mount Jameson Missionary Baptist Church? And how long have you been there?
3 years.
3 years.
Mm-hmm.
And how is it? Is enough people going to church, or
We keep it full.
you keep it full? Must be a pretty good church
Yeah,
to keep
it
it
is.
full. Because I've often wondered. I came here 3 years ago, and I was looking for a church. It took me a long time to find one, but eventually I found one.
Mm-hmm.
But I was surprised how many churches there was here, because years ago there wasn't any.
Yes.
All of a sudden,
Yes.
there's this
Yes.
abundance of. So why did so many flourish? Are we trying to change all these gamblers to be straight? 'Cause I think that's a little impossible.
It could be a reason, but my main service is I do a live broadcast on the radio.
Oh, you do the radio.
Yes, I do a live broadcast on
And
the radio.
what radio station is that?
KKVV 1060 AM,
KKBB 1060.
AM, and they
AM.
also are on 101.5 FM.
Oh, so you're on FM as well. He's on both
Yes.
stations, so we all know FM is hello, the channel to be on, right? And when you're on that program, what exactly do you talk about?
The Bible.
The Bible. Do you have people calling in, or
Yes. Yes, the phone line's always open.
it's always open? What is the most common question, after all, I don't know how many years you've been doing it, what's the most common question that people ask you about religion?
Well, depending upon what the subject matter is, I would have to say the same-sex issue.
Oh, the same.
Yes, that
Well, that's
keeps me
become a
also-
very large priority.
Yes, it
And
is.
me being in the news business and being a journalist and being a host and all this stuff, I'm very kind of, I've always been that way, whatever people like, whatever floats their boat. I mean, you've got some people can't help if they're born a man and they want to be a woman, and they're born a woman and they want to be a man. I think that's sometimes in the genes.
Yes,
What do you
sometimes.
think? I mean,
Well, it all depends. I really believe in what the Bible says, that God created a man and a woman.
yes.
And with the laws being put forth now that we have become more acceptable of this lifestyle, but I'm still into the old Bible where we say
the
a
old
man
Bible.
and a woman are married together, and that's
Yeah.
what I truly believe in.
Yeah, and it is. But to them, they are a man and a woman.
Yes, so I
them.
understand.
To
To
them.
them,
To
they,
them,
are,
but
they
then-
are a man and
Yes.
a woman. So that's now. Also, you are a tax accountant. I mean, this
Oh,
woman
I
does.
have yeah, thank you. I have a business. I'm a tax preparer. I'm certified through the IRS. I also volunteer every Tuesday at a assisted living home. I'm the president of my retiree union, which means that I'm a retiree, believe it or not, for
Doesn't
the
look it,
last
does she?
15
She's-
years. And I retired from the local government, Toledo, Ohio.
Oh, really?
Yes, and I've been the president for the last 7 years, and we also do a lot of nonprofit organization with the Miss Senior Nevada. I was first runner-up.
Now, weren't
and-
you? I was going to say you were in that, and you
Yes.
actually won. In fact, I hated that, but Kenny and Kareem just asked me. He said, "Would I go into this pageant thing?" And I don't know if I've got time for it, but you know, it sounds pretty cool.
It does require a little bit of time, perhaps more in preparation
Yeah,
than afterwards.
and afterwards. But it's actually promoting Vegas, and which is what I'm all about, is
Right.
promoting Vegas. So I guess I could do quite well if I promoted it and did all
Yes.
We
But-
think so.
that. Oh, there you go. Isn't that sweet? That's sweet. Now, your main business, which is what you both do, and this is really what I wanted to bring forward, is that you actually have a marriage, you have a marriage thing that you, tell me a little bit about this, what you do.
We have a company called Abundant Weddings,
Abundant Weddings.
and we are a mobile ministry, meaning that we come to the site of the person's choice. We bring the wedding on wheels
Oh, so
to
you
them.
bring the wedding to them?
Yes,
Yes.
right. They contact us, and we find out their location, and that's all we need to know.
And then, so you then go there,
That's right.
and do you put the whole wedding together?
Basically, from what
A to Z.
That's right. Basically, from what they tell us what they want, we incorporate everything they want. Some people want an intimate wedding. Some people want a funny wedding. Some people just want a family-oriented
Bungee
wedding.
bungee jumping
Yeah.
wedding. You know
We
that
have
you
done
just
that.
fly. Have you done that?
With zip line, we've done
Oh,
that.
zip line weddings?
Yes, we have done that.
I don't think of all these crazy
Yep.
weddings. I mean,
Yep.
a wedding is a wedding.
Yes, I guess it's to each his own.
Yeah.
There you go.
We did
Yeah.
a couple in a helicopter.
And a helicopter as well.
Yes, actually, and we did one
So which
on
is
the
the
high roller.
which is the wildest one you've done that really sort of shook your minds? Like, wow, can we do that?
It would be a tie between the helicopter and we did a zombie wedding.
A zombie wedding. Okay,
Yes.
now that you have to explain to me. What is a zombie
It was a zombie theme.
theme?
They were
Okay.
all cut up and covered with blood.
Yes,
It was a zombie theme wedding.
Am I supposed to say that's exciting?
It was a
it
little
was
bit,
It was different.
Very
It was
different.
but it was
And
fun.
why did they want? Did you ask them why they wanted that? Or?
It was their theme. You know,
What's
a
the
lot
theme
of
they wanted?
people have themes that they wish to carry out. Sometimes people meet at a certain area and they want to come back and reenact what they've done or how they came
And
about.
also, it's probably something that actually makes them very close together,
Yes.
of wanting the same thing,
Absolutely.
experiencing the same thing, and then also because when you get married, if none of you knew that out there, but I'm sure some of you do, but when you get married, you become one.
That's right.
Whether you like it or not,
That's right.
you become one. We're
Right.
supposed to become one. I mean, you're supposed to be able to, you know, jive together and do all that stuff together, which is getting less and less. Do you find there's just as many weddings but more divorces?
Here in Las Vegas it's about 50-50.
50,
But I have a very high percentage rate, successful rate for my weddings.
for your wedding. So what's the secret for you to keep these people together? What's the secret? What do you tell them?
Well, I tell them that now they are one. There's no more
one.
my money or your money, it's our money. No more my car or your car, it's our car. No more my authority or your authority, it's our one authority.
And there's one thing I've noticed an awful lot when people talk about their children, or my children, and I'm
Yes.
looking at them thinking, well, hang on a second, there was a guy attached to this.
So
Somewhere.
it's our children.
Our children.
Yes.
So, all right, great message out there, which is, you know, we are at the beginning of 2016, so this is a fabulous message. When you get married, become one. Become that one.
And they're committed to God.
And the Bible
that's
says
the
that
main
too.
thing. They are a commitment that they
That's a
have
commitment.
made a promise, not only
To
to,
each
the
other.
people,
To
and
each
each
other.
other, and God.
And that's most
And
important.
that's made
And I think it's most important to each other. I think really, really. But we have a wonderful surprise because I never
Yes.
knew anything about this. And I was asking the Reverend Kenny, I was asking both of you about, you know, this is Elvis Presley's birthday. And you came up and said, oh, well, we opened actually his chapel. So tell me a little about, they actually were at the first day of the opening of the chapel of Elvis Presley's chapel. So this is fascinating. What was it?
It was April.
It was April the 23rd of 2015, and we were asked to perform the first live wedding on TV on the Today Show. And the couple won, and the trip came to Las Vegas, here at Las Vegas, to perform the wedding. And we actually performed the wedding there. We were so
In Elvis
happy.
Presley's chapel, which was just open.
Yes, yes.
Because you know, I believe most people know that Elvis Presley was very, very religious, and he sang an awful lot of religious songs, and he sang them well.
Yes.
He
Yes.
was fabulous. So that must have been an incredible experience for you.
It was.
And
It
an
was
honor.
live. And we had 2 separate rehearsals for him?
Yes.
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 And George Bush's daughter was there?
Gina Bush was there.
Oh,
She
how
was
wonderful.
the correspondent from the Today Show, and we also met Priscilla. She was the maid of
Priscilla,
honor.
oh.
She was the maid of honor there.
Priscilla Presley.
Yes.
I mean, that must have
It
been.
was wonderful.
That's an honor.
Yes.
It was.
So it was. What would you like to say about Elvis right now? He would have been 81 today, and you know, who knows all the records he would have won and what he would have, because he was just out there.
I like him very much. I really became an Elvis fan when I visited Graceland in Tennessee.
Oh, and when was that?
That was
In
when
2009.
2009.
So this
Yes.
all came later when you started getting involved. In,
Yes.
And you were surprised about Graceland, how beautiful it is.
Yes.
It's a gorgeous place to go, and you can just feel the presence of Elvis there, and his way he lived, his lifestyle. And what's so amazing about it, he was very religious too.
Yeah.
People never really realize
realize
a
how
lot.
religious he was.
He has a lot of religious background with him.
Absolutely.
You know, lovely person.
Okay, so we're coming to an end, and I would love you to just tell me, how can people get in touch with you? You have a website? What's your website?
Yes.
Okay, we have a wonderful website. We need to visit it. It's called abundantweddings.com. And once you visit our website, you see that we offer a lot of packages that you can pick from. And we are a wedding on wheel. As I indicated, we bring everything to you, from the flowers to the photos to the videos to the music. You name it, we got it. And it's mostly appropriate to people who come into Las Vegas and want a wedding, but they don't want the chapel scene, so that's why we make it so
So they're the
important.
mobile. So they are the mobile weddings, which is, to
That's
me, is
right.
something very new, very beautiful. So wherever you are, they will come to you. On that, thank you both very much for
Thank
coming on
you.
the
Thank
show.
you,
This is
Nina.
Vegas Live. We'll sure be right back. We'll see
Thank
you
you
soon.
so much.
Ninon?
Welcome to Vegas Live. I'm Ninon. Of course, we have another fabulous guest. We have actually 2. They're actually husband and wife. And you were actually, he was actually involved in going back into Elvis. And as you know, we're doing kind of everything's about Elvis on this particular show because although it's early yet, but his birthday is January the 8th, right?
That is correct.
And January the 8th, he was going to be 81.
Yes.
And he probably would have been a bigger star even at 81. And of course, this is Ed Gunther, and this is Apple Rose. And Apple Rose. They are husband and wife, but she, all of a sudden, I didn't know this, but wants to use her own name, and I don't blame you. And you are a singer, right?
I am. And I'm also a poet.
You are a poet.
I am.
Well, she doesn't know that I don't do poetry, but I write sonnets. I'm a sonnet writer, and I said one day to somebody, I said, well, tell Shakespeare to move over. And they said, Ninon, I hate to tell you, he has already moved over.
Yes, moved on.
He's already moved on. Now, you used to be in the, and I've got this folder here, which is a whole bunch of stuff here. And being Elvis, we've now got this Johnny Spencer in concert. Now, Johnny Spencer was part of, actually, he was the...
John was
tell
probably
me.
the first. He was probably the first Elvis tribute artist that used the Las Vegas format and the jumpsuit, and he started that back in about 1970.
1970.
After we had been out here to Las Vegas, and after having seen Elvis at the International, we're just inspired to, bring that type of show out to the heartland, which in the Midwest, where we were in Chicago.
Oh, Chicago. So you wanted to, I thought you were going to bring it, say, Vegas, but no, you wanted to bring it to Chicago.
Right.
So you brought this particular show because now you were, there's a photograph, I got to show you this because he's in the middle here. This is Ed right here. I don't know if you can see that, but if you can, great. If you can't, you better bend it down a little bit. I don't know. Anyway, but that's it. And you were in this band,
Utah.
Utah.
Right.
Now, when did you start in that band?
Well, actually, I originated that band in 1971, and then started with, were at that time watching Johnny Spence.
Yes.
And then eventually.
So Johnny Spence was the one that kind of encouraged you to go into this business.
Right. Oh, definitely in the tribute artist business. Yes, definitely.
Now, what did you do in the band?
I was a keyboard player and vocalist.
And vocalist as well. So do you sing a little bit like Elvis? Or?
Not really, but more like
Let's put him on a spot and ask him to sing, but I don't think I'll do that.
I get all the low parts.
Oh, you got all the low
right. I spend all day looking for songs with no high notes. You know.
And you being a singer, do you help him along with this?
Oh, yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Yes, and how long have you been together? You look like you've been together a long time.
Well, that's we met on. In fact, actually, she had a female vocal group called Stardust, and we hired Stardust to be the opening act for Johnny Spence Tours in 1987 at the 10-year anniversary of Elvis's death. And you know, we started that show in Memphis at the Mid-South Coliseum, but Apple and her group were the backup vocals.
And she became the apple of your eye.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I had to get that one in there. Sorry about that.
Elvis is responsible for so many good things in my
Isn't
life.
he? Isn't
Right.
he? He's
Yes.
responsible for. Even I was way in England at that particular time. I was knee high to a grasshopper, and I remember how I loved his music and loved him. But also, we have to mention another thing, that we're actually sitting in Elvis Presley's booth. This is his booth, and this is where he used to see. So I don't know if he's in here or there, but he sat obviously somewhere. We're sitting at one time. So Johnny Spencer was a big sort of help with you in where you were going and what you were doing.
Oh, definitely, definitely. John.
And how popular was Johnny? Actually, you know.
Well, I can honestly say
Singing
that
like
when
Elvis
I first saw John, and there were starting to be lines around the corner to see his shows in the clubs throughout Chicago and so forth, and I became intrigued with that and said, I think you need a good band leader. And I sat down and talked with him, and we formed a great relationship over a long period of time. And
Now, he didn't actually sing like Elvis, or did he sing, or was he actually singing like him as well as sort of, you know, just giving him a tribute? Because tribute and impersonation and tributes are really two different things, that we think they're the
Right.
same, and they're not really. No, because when you're impersonating somebody, you're actually trying to be like them. When you're giving them a tribute, you're actually singing their songs. So there's a
Right.
slight difference in it.
John looked so much and had so much of the charisma and the moves of Elvis that he created a tremendous visual presence. He probably sounded more like Tom Jones, but he really did.
But he had that presence of Elvis Presley,
Yes,
and as you were saying, there was lines and lines around to come and see him, and because everybody was visualizing this was really Elvis, and it's funny
It
how
was easy
even
to
up
do.
till today, Elvis is still around. It's the most
yes.
amazing things. Why is that, Apple?
I think he just touches something in all of us that it's like his dream, the way he started and then the way he developed and how big he became.
The thing was his gentleness. He was very gentle with people. He was never above anybody. He
Right.
never came over above enemy. I mean, I unfortunately did not see him or did not meet him. I've met loads of people, but this is one I didn't. But I always saw this gentle side to him. He was never above anybody to say hello to them or to be with them or to sort of, you know.
Right.
Did you actually meet him?
No, I didn't get a
Oh, you
chance to
didn't
meet
either?
him.
Oh.
I didn't get a chance to meet him. We were in the, you know, we got to see him
Yeah.
several times,
So-
but never got to actually sit down with him, which in this booth would have been really
Would have
great.
been, oh, yeah, me too. We could all
Yes,
fit in here.
yes.
We would make room, wouldn't we?
Yeah,
We could all get in
really.
there, all squeeze in. What is the greatest moment, and what are you kind of doing now, and sort of, you know, your life now? What are you? You're no longer with Johnny Spence, right?
No, right.
Is he
Unfortunately,
still-
John
died.
passed away.
Yes, I was
John
gonna say he
passed
passed
away, and at that time we were, you know, putting the band back together,
Yeah.
and we're going to work on the Shadow of King project.
Yes, I'm going to bring actually John Griffin to talk about the Shadow of a King, because we have a new production coming up. It's called The Shadow of a King, and of course the Shadow of a King is Elvis Presley, and you're having a lot to do with that as well.
Yes.
What do you see in this production of knowing Johnny Spence and then going into the Shadow of a King?
Was bringing back the enthusiasm, bringing back the air, the feel for his son. I mean, Elvis lives, and this is, and the spirit goes on, and it's the excitement that
And
you
that's
can
what I
create with a
think.
live, large production.
Well, that's what it's
Large
going to be.
production.
It's going to be a large. For a little bit I know about it, I've understood that we already have an Elvis. I'm not going to mention his name because I don't know if I should mention it, so the best thing to do is zip it. I'll let John Grip do what he wants to do with it. He can mention it, whatever. We'll let him, because I might be putting my foot in it, I don't know. But I understand, actually I had the opportunity with this gentleman to actually interview him, and I interviewed him 2 or 3 weeks ago. And if there's anybody that looks like Elvis, and this guy had no makeup on, nothing, and he is, and I'm like staring at this guy, and he probably thought I was being awfully rude, but I was taking it all in.
Yeah.
Oh, he definitely has the
So
look.
do you think it's the right time now to bring this in and to bring something back after all these years? Because it's, when did he die?
77.
77.
1977, August.
So we've gone through quite a long time of his passing, and now we're bringing something back that apparently, which I'll let John do, is more like his show and how the actual show was, with bringing back the singers, which were the male and female backup singers, I believe. And he's going to talk about the drummers and the piano. I mean, there's so much evolved in this because it's going to be the real thing, right?
Right, absolutely. 40 plus people on stage. I think, and John was telling even more than that. I know I counted up to 43, a minimum of 43. We'll go.
So it's going to be the real thing.
Yes, the real live production with the real charts and
with
the
what
action.
he did,
Just what
with what Johnny did, and what we're bringing out. You said he had a big response, and that was only 10 years after his passing.
Right.
So what is your feeling towards this Shadow of a King? Because I think it's a great name.
Well, absolutely. That I agree with. It's a great name. It's a great feeling. It's part of America. It's the American dream.
Yes.
I've said this. Elvis has always portrayed our dream, our feeling, our emotion as a people.
Yes.
And
He's
and
part of America, he's kind of come under, hasn't he? He's come under this sort of incredible umbrella thing. He was part of America. And I think it was because he brought out so many different things. You know, the way he came out and danced, I mean, how he danced then and how people dance now is two different things. But at that time, it was like, you know, he's wiggling and shaking his legs. And I think everybody went crazy. Oh, how could he do that on stage? But he didn't care. He went ahead. But he always did it in a nice manner. There was nothing sort of bad about it. But
And he always had a twinkle in his eye. He always seemed, I don't know, have such good feelings for
he
his
had
audience.
fun with it.
Right.
He had fun performing. It seemed like he had fun all his life. I mean,
Excellent. Great smile.
Yeah, always
Yeah.
that great smile, and always sort of out there, and always ready for the audience, and ready to be out
Yes.
there. What are you both doing now, apart from the Shadow of the King?
Apart from that, she's writing poetry, right?
Yes. And
Yeah, Apple writes poetry, and I write sonnets, so we have kind of something in common,
Yeah.
which I didn't know she wrote poetry. What do you write poetry about?
very accessible, more about everyday happenings and relationships and free verse. Nothing so difficult as a sonnet.
No, yeah, sonnet's pretty.
It
I don't know.
is.
I just let my mind wander and just wanders. I usually write them at night, and and I put this beautiful soft music on, and something without the words, because I don't want lyrics to interfere with my brain at that particular time. And I write these, and they're usually 3 paragraphs. I try to keep it small. But now I'm going to put a book together, and I have it all together, and So you should put a book of your own poem.
I've started one.
Good.
Yes, I have.
Good.
But,
Do you ever give her any ideas, Ed?
Well, I think I'm
Inadvertently,
inadvertently,
yes.
not intentionally.
Oh, I'm going to write about that. As you come up with
Oh,
stuff.
that was good. I'm going to write that down.
There you go. Do you ever write poetry for anybody, for people? Just yourself.
You mean to share?
Yes. No. If somebody said, "Would you write me a poem?"
I might. Nobody's
done
ever
that.
asked me to.
Oh, okay.
I've written them for people in my life.
Yes.
For my daughter, for my
Oh, how
husband.
lovely. Yeah, that's nice. Well, we've had a remarkable interview. It's been absolutely, totally amazing. 2 amazing people, Apple and Ed, and of course they're very, very much involved in the Shadow of a King, which we're going to find out a little bit more. And I'm going to bring Ed back, and then I'm going to bring John back, and we're going to talk a little bit more about the production, where we're going with it, and when we can start it. And I think we want to start it this year, I believe so.
Yes.
Thank you, Ed. Thank
Very
you.
good.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you.
1, 2.
Welcome to Vegas Live. I'm Ninon, and I have a fabulous deck, Derrick Pontier. Isn't that lovely? I
Yes,
love that
very
name.
nice, nicely said.
And it
Thank
sounds
you.
very French, but apparently it is Italiano.
Yes.
It's high,
You speak
high-end.
Pontieri.
Pontier. Oh,
the I was
Pontieri. I love it.
Yes.
Now you are actually, I'm going to say he's a famous drummer, but we're going to find out. All the bands you've been in a tremendous amount of bands, so you're going to be pretty good.
You know, I practice a lot. I can just keep practice every day as much as I can, you know. Just been playing for over 30 plus years.
But he doesn't look old enough, does he? I mean,
Thank
goodness.
you. Thank you so much.
What makes a great drummer? And I know you said practicing, and I believe that makes anybody great.
Yeah, it's also got to be in you, inside, you know. You got to just have it there. You can almost something kind of like born with, my opinion anyway.
Yes.
You can practice, you can become a good
Anything you
at it,
want.
everything. Yeah.
You can actually, you can.
Apply yourself, all perseverance,
And I often
dedication to the
see,
instrument.
you see all the different instruments and everybody around, and then you have you on the platform or sort of,
On
either
a little
or in the
platform.
back or something. But I never feel that the drummers are really noticed that much, and yet they bring a tremendous part into the group.
Right. Well, we're the biggest instrument on stage.
Yes.
You just drive it, and you can kind of make yourself noticed without trying to. Or you know what I'm saying? How you
that's
play,
the
how you
trick.
attack, the instrument, everything.
So
Yes.
how you attack the instrument
Yeah.
to get somebody to sort of say, oh, where did that come from? Oh, the drummer.
Right. Exactly.
Because normally they're a little bit on the background. Normally they're a little in the back, a little bit sort of,
So you keep the beat, but you shine when it's time to shine without being overzealous. But
Okay.
not like, stomping on the singer or any other player. And you have your time when you can solo and everything. But you
So
always want to make sure you keep
how
the
do
groove
you
going.
know? How do you know to keep all that going? You have to. What do you follow? The singer or the guitar?
You kind of said it a lot of times. Sometimes, like in the past, I've played with a click track workout if it's required, where that sets the time of the song. But also you got to have good muscle memory too. So you may have a click. So once you know the time of the song, the feel, and muscle memory, you just kind of just know when to do it. You
You
drive
kind
it
of
and run it.
know when to
Yes.
come in. You know
You
when
count
to come
everybody
in,
off.
and you know when to hit the cymbals, and
Oh, yeah.
you hit
Yeah.
this, and then the.
And you kind of do different things, ad lib it in there and stuff. And just
And
kind
you
of
can ad
make it
lib,
your
knowing
own.
what the song is. You
Exactly.
can ad lib on
Yes.
that. So that's what I love. I love when they suddenly pick up different things and you do different things
Yeah.
and
A little
and then
fun
sort
with
of,
it.
yes, have fun
Exactly.
with it. But also creating something becoming very personal and becoming just you.
Make it your own. Make it your own.
Make it your
Make a
own.
name for yourself.
Now I want you to brag a little bit. Who have you played with?
The biggest, I played at so much for gigs. Did the whole Hollywood scene for years. And
Yeah.
everything.
So who did you play
The
with?
biggest band was Great White. That was all the original
Oh, it was a
Whites.
Great White. See, I didn't know that.
And then other versions.
Well,
of
Great White was very, very big.
Yeah, it was a big, from the 80s, like mid 80s.
Yeah.
One of
So
the biggest.
how did you get in there?
I was discovered at a party in May of 2000 by the lead singer.
It sounds like a girl's story. I was
I was just sitting in at a birthday party for a buddy. So I sang a couple of songs. Jack was there. I just seen Great White a week prior to that at the. Remember the movie Rockstar?
Yes, of course.
With Mark Wahlberg. Well, they were playing the party at that at the LA Sports Arena.
Okay.
I went to that show. A week later, I go to my buddy's birthday party, and they said Jack's gonna be here. I was like, sure he is. You don't ever
You
when
don't-
people say
no,
that.
no, no.
Then I looked out the window. He walks in. To make a long story short, I sat and did 2 songs, and he made an
Did
offer.
you purposely did those 2 songs for him to hear, or were you
Not
just?
really. He wasn't. I wasn't that night. I wasn't. I just met him. I said
Well,
hi.
you're pretty young at that time. How old were you? 24?
No. How old was I then? In my 30s. No, I was in my 20s. Yeah.
You were in his
No, I'm
20s.
kidding.
He was in his 20s.
No,
Come
I was in
on.
my. I
You
was,
were in your 20s. Give me a break.
30, early 30s.
Early 30s.
Yeah, and he was sitting back hanging out with some friends. All I said was hello to him. He asked, he goes, "You a drummer or a singer?" I go, "I'm a drummer." And I just went up there sitting with the band, and he made an offer. And then I got with Great White in 2001.
2001.
It wasn't a cattle call or anything like that. I just went and he discovered me.
He
and started
discovered
playing.
you and became part of
Yep.
his band. Was this one of the biggest highlights of your career, would you say?
Yeah, when you first get, because it was one of the biggest gigs, just what you worked for.
Yes.
You worked in a gig like that.
You're working to climb to a place like this,
Exactly.
or for someone to recognize you, because the only time or the only places people are going to recognize you is when you play.
Yeah.
And are they going to like your beat apart from anybody else's beat?
Right.
So it's like sort of, are you doing the right thing or the wrong thing, or, so do you ever try, I'm not going to say at an audition, but when you're playing, just in case somebody might be in the audience, that, maybe I'll make it really good.
Oh, one drummer's worth 1,000 people.
One row.
That's what they always say. It's like,
1,000 people.
well, but you want to put on. You always. It's not about being arrogant. Just
Not arrogant.
I'm all
no.
about playing. You talk when you play.
Play your, yes.
You don't.
yeah.
If you say it, deliver
These
it.
are your words, is what you deliver
Yeah,
out
exactly,
of what you
exactly.
do around it. Those
Yeah.
are your words. Those are
Exactly.
speaking to whoever is out there.
That's why she said I'm quiet sometimes. Sometimes I am. Sometimes I talk.
Well, you don't
when I
have
feel
to
like
talk.
it.
You don't have to. The drum does it all.
Exactly. Yes.
Does it
They
all
can talk
for
for
you.
you. Yep.
So you are saying that what's made you different is practicing.
You got to practice it. Just even when you're not playing drums, I'm thinking about it. When
Okay.
I'm working, like when I was a kid, everything was a drum set in the house. When I started actually when I first started playing, I was playing Elvis records.
Elvis. Oh, now we're going to get Elvis
Neil
coming out now.
Diamond, the
See,
Safaris,
everything comes
yeah.
out. All
My
right.
parents still have all these kind of records. That's what I was into before I was into like Van Halen, AC/DC, the metal. I did the metal years and
You
stuff.
did the metal, yeah.
Yeah.
But you really started out with the Elvis Presleys and all that.
Yeah.
So what is your memory? Since this is an Elvis Presley
Elvis-
kind of
Elvis
everything's
is
going on, what did you think about Elvis?
It's great. It's just cool. And when, like I said,
What
when I
made him so
first
different
started,
for people to sort of see
he's
this
just got a
guy?
uniqueness about him. In his band, you got gospel music, R&B, kind of like with his orchestra, big band type swing,
Yes.
rock and roll. It just everything's just great, and it's really challenging right now. Going back to it from what I've been doing to playing this now, as I'm really excited about this gig. Shout out to King. It's gonna be fun. It's very challenging.
Now, what part are you playing? You're playing, obviously, the drums.
Oh,
So
yeah.
you're going to be playing the drums in this.
Yes.
And I was just talking to a previous Ed, and he was talking about how big this orchestra is going to be. It's getting bigger. I mean, I thought, I'm going 20, 25. He's telling me 41, and now
Awesome.
it's going to be humongous. And it's going to be, apparently, it's going to be kind of the real thing.
Oh yeah, and that'll be fun. I've never played with an orchestra, so I believe I did bands with horns, like in
Yeah.
high school and stuff like that. In junior high, but this is gonna be really cool.
So-
Playing with, it's gonna be great playing with an orchestra and all the backup singers and the
And did
everybody.
you
It's
get
awesome.
did you get this because of who you know? Or
John
just-
found me.
Where did John find you?
I
He
was
finds,
at- I-
let me
I
tell you
used to
something.
be-
This
oh.
guy John, which is coming on the set, he finds everybody.
He
I don't
does,
know how
he
he
does,
finds
that's
them.
for sure. He just
And
runs around and finds everybody,
For a
doesn't he?
quiet man that sits at home with his wife and does his thing, he sure gets around.
Yes, he does. I was a counselor at Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp out here. They had one here in Vegas for a little while.
Okay.
And they had this benefit for this baby girl. Her name was Gracie, and she was born with half a heart. She's still alive, so they had a benefit for her. I just went down there to donate, meet the family,
How sweet.
and to sit in. It wasn't about the musicians; it was all about her.
Yes,
A band called
yes.
Adelia's Way was a headliner. They're a national band out here out of Vegas, and I just sit in and with a group that I've worked with before, and just did Bon Jovi's version of "Get By with a Little Help from My Friends," which is a Beatles
Bye
song.
with a little help
And
from
we
my
did
friend,
Kiss
yes.
Love Gun of all songs. And John was there, and he seen me play, and he comes up to me afterwards. He goes, "You kind of remind me a little bit of Ron Tut." And I go, "Well, that was one of my earliest influences."
That
besides
wasn't
Neil
not the
Peart
first
and
time
guys like
someone
that.
had said that to you, right?
You know, actually, it was. It was I think it was the first time I ever heard that one. Because
Yes.
usually, I've been to other influences like Tommy Aldridge, Neil Peart, of course,
Yeah.
and tons of Terry Bozzio, tons of other metal drummers and rock drummers and progressive
But
rock
you are
drummers.
who you are.
Yeah, but I guess if someone to see that, and I didn't really think of it like that,
No.
it was kind of cool for someone to see that. They made the offer, and here we are, getting ready to do
I
this
think
thing.
the reason why you're getting all these things and these things happen is you have a good heart.
You got a good heart and you got a good attitude.
Yeah,
You gotta
this
carry it all.
business you've got, but also you practice
Oh,
a lot.
integrity and everything, yes.
Yes, and then you turn up when you're supposed to turn up.
Yeah, that's being responsible is a
Being
good thing.
responsible.
Showing up.
A lot of these people, and I've found this out. A lot of people that don't get work is because
Right.
they don't show up on time, or they don't rehearse enough, or they don't practice enough. And I've found a lot of this.
Yeah, you can find that's for
That-
sure.
that's going to-
Dealt with it for
So,
years.
what is your impression of the Shadow of a King, which we keep mentioning here because it really is the highlight of what's coming up, especially in Vegas? What is your
I like it
impression?
because it's not. I don't think it's not like your normal. And there's a lot of great Elvis tributes out there. But it seems
Yes,
to be a
there
little
are.
different. It's
Yes.
a little different type of thing, and so it's a full production. So that's what I'm excited about the whole thing. That's my whole outlook on it.
Yeah,
so
it's
I've been
a-
practicing that for the past year now, getting ready.
You're getting
making
ready.
sure because Elvis fans are very right to it.
You know,
Right to the
I'm going to
point.
brag a little bit, but apparently the highest a number of people that like Elvis is in England, in London.
Yes, we're-
And I'm like thinking, London? How did that come?
I'll go back to London and play
Yeah.
again anytime. I love it over there. It's fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was a good time.
absolutely. So yeah, I know that everybody, if we took the show to London, I know everybody would be out there. I just
Oh,
don't
yeah.
know if we have a big enough stadium there, but
Right.
we can always use it on the football fields or something.
Exactly,
You know,
that'd
there's
be
always
good.
make
Yes.
it bigger and sort of there's always
That'd be
there's
awesome.
always room to make something big. Believe me. So you're all excited about the Shadow of a King and what's going on and what's happening. That's amazing. That's wonderful. So he's another one involved in Elvis Presley, and of course you're sitting in Elvis Presley's seat. I mention this all the time because it is Elvis Presley,
Yeah, his word-
and
his-
he's just
it's
an
always
amazing man. And I wonder if he knows if we're still all talking about him. I guarantee he does know. We'll be right back. Welcome to Vegas Live. I'm Ninon, and we have an incredible. He's here every single week, and I think you're going to be coming on every week now.
I'm gonna get down here every week
Every
to
Tuesday
go
to-
over right.
What's going on? And
Right,
his
we're
name
gonna-
is Evan Davis, and it's Evan Davis Jazz Corner. Not only is it jazz, and he actually said to me, I got to let him do a little bit more talking because I'm very rude. I interrupt everybody, so I'm going to try and I'm going to give you time this time. He said, Nino, can I finish a sentence? I said, of course you can finish a sentence.
I'd like to start one first.
He wants to start a sentence.
Well,
Well, he's
we'll
got to hope in you know what.
We'll call it the Evan Davis Jazz Corner, and it's not just jazz. What I'm going to do every week is come in and give you a rundown of what's happening for the week, starting like on Friday.
Yes.
So people will have some ideas of what they can see, where they can go, and I'll also tell you a little about what I'm producing and what shows I'm putting on, and give
Yes.
them some plugs as well.
Because you produce as well.
Yes.
But he's an amazing producer, and I'm going to interrupt him on this because he's absolutely fabulous. Went to see a couple of his shows, and he's really, really good. And this is something you recently started up. It's not something you've always done.
No, not something I've always done.
And he's become very good at it, so sometimes we don't know what we're good at.
Right now, I'm the entertainment editor for the Vegas Voice, and I handle all their shows and produce all their
Yeah,
shows.
and you're doing a good job.
Yes, thank you. Let me give you a quick rundown of what's going on.
As
and
of Friday.
As of Friday, we'll start with that. We've got, let's see, Joey Ugarte. His band is at El Cortez, the Parlor Lounge, with Rita Lim. She's a fabulous,
El
gorgeous...
Cortez downtown.
Downtown, the El Cortez downtown. Carmine Mandia Friday is at the Italian American Club.
Great.
We've got Mark Love with a group called Love, Sweat, and Tears
Oh, that's nice. That's
is actually
unusual.
playing at the Summit. The Kenny Davidson show will be at the Piazza Lounge at Tuscany. You got Laura Schaefer, a trio in Nora's Italian Cuisine. You have the Dispensary Lounge for Straight Ahead Jazz. You have Zoe Bowie with Nieve at Red Rock.
I have to
got
interrupt
Wes-
you 1 second. Zoe Bowie is amazing, so don't forget to see Zoe Bowie.
right,
He's
and-
up at the Red Rock.
Yes, yes,
Summerland.
and, yeah,
That's out in
and,
Summerland.
and that's just on Friday, and there's a few more. Saturday, there's a big band at 1 o'clock at Sun City McDonald Ranch. At the Italian American Club, Jerry Tiffy in the evening. You've got the at the Sand Dollar Lounge.
Where's that?
That's on Spring Mountain and Polaris, not
Okay.
far from here. They have usually blues going on
Oh, how
down there.
beautiful. I love
Diane
blues.
Cayley is going to be playing her band. She was on a few weeks ago or
She
last
was,
week.
yes,
yes,
yes.
great.
She was on last week.
Yes. You also have, let's see, on Saturday there's a new retro dance band at Red Rock in Rock's Lounge. You have on Sunday at Anthem, there's a talent show going on there. You got the Night Kings at the Eastside Cannery on Sunday.
See how good I'm being? I'm not interrupting
Right,
you.
you
See how
certainly
great
are.
I am?
So I can get at least some of these in. Nick at Night at Tuscany on Sunday night. Renee Haley, Terry American Club Sunday night. At Neil Diamond tribute singer Rob Garrett, who's going
Rob
to be
Garrett. Yeah, I'm going to have him on our show. I'm going to try and get him on the middle of
okay.
January. Yeah, I love him.
Tommy Ward Theater. He's there every Sunday now.
Yeah.
Michael Monge
Yeah.
is at the Encore East Side Lounge. We can go into Monday now. Monday is the Golden Nugget. Gloria Vivello, I think that how you
Gloria
pronounce it.
Vivello.
Yeah, fairly young
New singer?
girl, fairly new. Very good. We
She
should
in
get
the
her,
blues
get
or
her
is she in
on.
the rock or what's
No,
she in?
it's into more or less, I would say, a combination of sort of blues and top 40, a crossover of that.
Oh, in the 40s.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Of course, there's Kelly Clinton at
Oh,
Bootlegger
yeah.
on Monday, Santa Fe and the Fat City Horns Monday night. Wes Winters on Tuesday at Rampart Casino for people who like to dance. And
I
want
think
an
he's
early-
also at the South Point, isn't
South
he?
Point
on
on
Friday
Friday
and
and
Saturday.
Saturday, yep.
From 6 to 9, he's
Yep.
down there. He's amazing. He's very much like a Liberace guy.
Yes,
Yeah.
very much so. And Tuesday night at Salvatore's, Racine Zellner is singing there with Phil Baker, piano bar. He's one of the Baker boys.
Does he not have it together?
And that's just up to Tuesday. We
That's
can
just up to
continue. We
Tuesday.
can continue
But
going, but
That's just for this week.
yeah, that's this week. And I have
And
three.
where can they see this?
They can see this on my blog site, my website. It's evandavisjazz.com, EvanDavisJazz.com. You can just go there and you can see flyers, see some write-ups, and you can see the whole calendar. I'm also doing 3 shows this month. One is at the Silverton on the 19th of January. It's an afternoon variety show called Vegas Voice Afternoon Affair.
Okay.
On the 23rd, I'm doing a show at McDonald Ranch in the evening, the Porter de Gershwin show.
Oh, that
starts
should be
at
exciting.
6:30.
That's
It'll
for
be
the
a
older
good show.
people. Anthem.
Older people?
Well, Gershwin, hello.
Well, all right.
Come on.
Come on. Who doesn't like Porter, though? I mean, you
Yeah,
don't have
well,
to be.
yeah, well,
you have to be
absolutely.
an old
No, you
folk
don't have
for
to.
that.
You don't have to be
right?
old to see this. You can be
And-
nostalgic.
And then on the 27th of January, I'm producing a show at the Italian American Club called Frank and Dean That's Amore with Gary Anthony
Amore.
and Andy Domino. Those two as Frank and Dean, and you never know who's going to show up.
Well, that's-
Probably be plenty of the Rat Pack people.
I was going to
there
say,
that
that's
night.
Vegas. You know, in Vegas, you have all these different shows, like the Bootlegger. I mean, they get people coming in. On New Year's, I was there, and they had such a full program. Everybody turned up. So you never know who's going to turn up to these sort of, you know, these
that's
affairs.
true.
And it's
That's
wonderful
true.
to
It is.
see all the old ones and all the new ones. And I noticed you didn't mention Pia Zadora. Where is she?
Oh, she's every weekend, Friday and Saturday night at Piero's.
Piero's. I love
About 9
her.
o'clock at night. It's just a great place to hang out
Yeah,
and have a
she's
drink
super,
and
yeah, it's wonderful.
just listen to some old tales and songs,
There you
and
go.
it's a lot of fun. Yeah,
So
we,
Evan,
yeah, we
thank
spend New
you.
Year's Eve there.
we
but,
did?
Yeah, we
good
did.
for you. So Evan has given us the rundown of what's going on in Vegas, and this will be happening every week to see what's going on and what's happening, and of course producing his own shows as well. Very talented man he has become. I believe you were talented before, but in a
Thanks.
different way. A different way. Did you ever think you'd be doing anything like this?
No, not at all. Not at all.
See? Surprise, surprise. You never
Figured I'd
know
just
what
be
you got.
playing golf, going to the movies, and
Having fun
just-
time, but
yeah,
now you're
yeah.
having a better time because
Yes, I
he's
am.
with all the Vegas entertainers, and
Yeah.
they are amazing people.
Yes.
We'll be right back.